You're welcome.
Can I jump in, John? I'm glad Michael invited you to be with us. Can you hear me? Okay.
I certainly can, sir.
Yeah, Charles Stewart here in Texas. I'm really glad that Michael brought you in here. You are a talented man, no doubt. I specialize in an area of constitutional law research, referred to in the Seventh Amendment as the rules of the common law.
Yeah.
Okay, are you familiar with? Pardon me?
I'm familiar a little bit with that.
Okay. Counties are supposed to be common law jurisdictions. The sheriff is supposed to be a common law jurisdiction peace officer, and the counties and the electoral process that they're presently in charge of is supposed to be run in compliance with the rules of the common law. If that makes sense to you.
It certainly does. No, I know a friend of mine wrote a book on this. He's out of California, and very big on the powers of the sheriff and the counties. And that's why we have elections run by counties. And that's why we have a board of elections, which could be sometimes the board of supervisors, and like Maricopa, they're really the board of elections. Different states have different systems of doing things. There is nothing exactly the same in any state. And like I said, I've been in 18 states in the last 4 years.
Right. It might sound like a diversion, but it's related, honest. Do you consider yourself a Christian?
Pardon me?
Do you consider yourself a Christian?
I guess so. You know, I'm not really belong to any religion. I was raised Jehovah's Witness. I consider that a cult. And, you know, on that, let me shut this off.
Thank you.
Oh.
Hey, we've got something in common. I was raised Jehovah's Witness also.
Yeah, well, it's a hell of a cult, wasn't it? They had to take you to church.
I still have a lot of their beliefs, but their leadership is obviously as bad at devil. They're a bunch of devil worshippers, just like the Roman Catholics and a lot of the Zionist Pharisee Jews. We got lots of problems, and it's not confined to just the Jews and the Roman Catholics. But where I was going with the rules of the common law thing and the Christianity thing is that research about the constitutional common law tradition as it came to us from England shows that the English version of common law is actually based on Israelite biblical Torah law. And in Exodus 18, there's specific linkages. There's reference to how Moses was organizing the people of Israel in smaller communities of tens and 50s and hundreds and thousands. Are you familiar with the passage
not at
there?
all. Really, you know, it's something I don't get into. Religion.
Okay, well, if you'll follow me for just a moment further here, a true common law county is supposed to be 1,000 qualified electors. A true common law precinct is supposed to be 100 qualified electors. A true common law township is supposed to be 10 qualified electors. And I dare suggest all of the voting was done at the township and the precinct levels, and that's where the vote tallies were done. And if we reverted back to that ancient system where the tallying is happening at the grassroots levels in the smaller communities of the township, that would cure the whole problem. I yield. Go ahead.
No, I would agree that, listen, to me, the ultimate solution is that we have election day as a holiday. We hand count it, okay? This machines have been the downfall of us, okay? You know, I tell people voting is a secret process. Counting is a public process, and we forgot to do that, okay? You know, They say that these machines count better than people. They do. The only problem is they're programmed by people, okay? And they can design formulas to make them do what you want to do. Hey, I'm an estimator at one time, among other things I've been. And you know, I designed programs to count and you could do add this plus that minus this, you know, hey, what number do you want at the end? Any good accountant will tell you that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Basically,
saying,
get back to a basics, but that's something over time we're going to get to. I think what's really important is our country is in severe trouble. Okay. The trouble
no doubt.
is that we need to be in a situation that we have to work as hard as we can to prove to the losers that they've really lost. And the only way we're going to achieve that is with hard evidence. Elections system that is verifiable with robust audits and making at the end of the election, I believe all of the ballot images should be posted online by precinct that anybody can add. Okay. And then and add them themselves or download an inexpensive program like Ray Lutz's and and you count it yourself and verify and then look at it forensically. And at a precinct level, that means you're looking at your neighborhood votes.
Yeah.
And that's where we used to vote locally, the whole point that you just brought up. That's important. Voting centers really are not a good thing, okay? I'm worried about ballot harvesting and ballot stuffing on top of the fact that we have a voting system that could be easily gamed, especially if they built a system that they can steal with impunity. Maricopa, with the audit system they have, could be stealing with impunity, or it could all add up perfect. I'm not betting it adding on perfect. I would have until I finished my research. When I go in, I do a very thorough investigation. I follow the wiring. I look at the procedures. I'm a specialist on that. And they had me going until I got to the audit. And then I started laughing. And I said to myself, oh my God, I just witnessed some of the best, maybe election theater that I've seen in a long time because their audit no good. So that's scary.
Well, the electoral process is the source of the color of legitimacy that either the Democrat or Republican leadership in governmental offices claims. And so we definitely need to focus at the nuts and bolts of the electoral process. And I dare suggest that just better auditing and stuff, that may be help it with a temporary fix. But we need to be looking at long-term fixes. We need to be looking at.
We need to get back to basics and back to, listen, the best election I ever did was in 2010. I just sued Maricopa, won that case. And then I went up to the Indian reservation because they hired me and Jim to watch their election. I was freaked out by their election, their participation. They brought us in to watch the whole process, teach them about the machines, what they had to watch out for. But I want you to know, I was blown away by the excitement of the people on election night, how it was like a holiday around these three precincts and people were setting up tents and they're partying and say, hey, Joe, come over here. I want to convince you why you need to vote for this person. Have a cup of coffee with me or whatever, or eat this donut with me. And then I'm watching the whole process and then a bus pulls up and the bus has people in orange suits and they're getting out. They cleaned out the jails, brought them back to their precincts and had them vote, then took them back to jail. Because what they were saying is, you're still part of our community, okay? And I'll say this, is that when I was 18 years old, I was in the Young Men's Correctional Center in the state of Maine, and the first place I ever voted was in the state of Maine, and I was in prison. And from there, I went into drug rehab, because I met a great priest to help me. And before I left the drug rehab, I was running the place, okay? And went off to start my own facility, but I got away far enough that I realized I didn't want to keep having white lips. That was from the Maalox, from the ulcers I had. And because whatever I get involved in, I get very deeply, deeply, passionately involved. Elections is my last big road tour of this planet for me. Okay. And I got 17 years in. My dream is to see basically a system like you're talking about, because it is about being local and about knowing your neighbors. in today's world, you know, I used to be a psychotherapist, I understand groupthink. Because I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, I understand cults. I understand group peer pressure, and you know, it's strange to see what's going on because a lot of people could be in feedback loops. And I always tell people there's two movies on Netflix that are really important to watch. One is called The Great Hack, and they're hacking heads now, okay? The second one is The Social Dilemma, okay? But how you can be put on feedback loops to be telling you what you want to hear. And it's very hard to be able to get information because sometimes we think that we're all living in different realities. I just want to say this to put it on the table. What I do is not about the right or left, it's about right and wrong. And sometimes it takes a lot of work to find out what's right and wrong because the facts we have today, a year from now, could have been just bullshit that we were given.
Here, here.
You know, and so it's a very important part to approach this as nonpartisan as possible, to try to keep somewhat of a distance and remember that work that we do is not of conspiracy theorist, but of conspiracy factualist. That's what I am. I try hard to get the facts dug out because when I go to court, I win with those facts. And that's an important part. And I'm pretty good at doing that because we've been doing quite a few. Yes, please.
I'm